With iOS 14, Apple really shook up the iPhone's interface, whether it was widgets, stackable widgets, or entirely new ways to navigate your app library. By comparison then, iOS 15 at least looks not quite as dramatic. And when it launched alongside the iPhone 13 family of phones, it lacked some of the major features we were expecting, including SharePlay, the ability to share and watch along with shows with your friends and family. But here, finally, with iOS 15.1, it's time to put Apple's newest mobile OS through its paces. So yeah, we had to wait until iOS 15.1, the first major update of this mobile OS, for SharePlay to break cover. This is the ability to share shows with your friends and family, and we've got an entire guide as to what works with it and how to use it over at Engadget.com. But the starting point is you will need FaceTime to do anything SharePlay. Once you're connected on the FaceTime call, it's a matter of going back into the iPhone and choosing exactly what you want to SharePlay with, whether that's Apple TV Plus or all the other compatible services. Using Apple TV Plus as an example, as soon as you tap on a show to SharePlay, your friend on the other side of the line will get a notification pop up and will be able to watch along with you. Shared shows are impressively lag-free. You'll see the same moment as your friends at exactly the same time, which is pretty impressive, although we have noted you won't be able really to watch anything international on Apple TV Plus. I'm not sure if that's a licensing issue or what, but trying to watch Ted Lasso with an American colleague just did not happen. Anyone watching SharePlay will be able to interact with the controls, whether that's increasing volume, pausing a show to get a snack, or exiting entirely. They can exit the show for themselves, or they can kind of cut the show off for everyone watching. You'll also be able to select your own dedicated language or subtitle on what's available on the content, which is very cool. Someone could watch something in an entirely different language while you watch it in English. There are also a few games already available on SharePlay, but you'll probably tend towards the free-to-play options. There are some paid ones already. I tried the charades-based Heads Up, and it was way more fun than anything really should have been. Another major facet of SharePlay is the compatibility with Fitness Plus. Naturally, you'll need an Apple Watch and a Fitness Plus subscription to use the feature, but it's an interesting new way of using these video workout classes and trying to compete with your friends and family. The app does an excellent job of dipping out the Fitness Plus music and instruction if someone on the call is trying to talk to you. It also means you have someone to kind of moan and complain with and sweat along with, which is kind of a motivating factor. It means you can do your workouts with your friends without ever leaving the privacy of your own apartment. That being said, unfortunately, there's a limitation to all things SharePlay, and that's which services are compatible. You won't find any Netflix here, nor will you find YouTube, which probably makes sense because that's big competition for Apple. You will, however, find compatibility for TikTok. Disney Plus support is incoming, as well as support on NBA, Discovery, and many, many more. Companies seem to be adding more services to SharePlay as we speak. So this is an interesting future endeavor for Apple, even if it's not a compelling feature, not quite yet. So there is potential here. I just wish it wasn't joined at the hip to FaceTime. I would have appreciated the option of navigating through Apple TV, for example, picking a show and then deciding who I want to FaceTime to immediately from the show. Standard vanilla FaceTime also gets plenty of upgrades in iOS 15. You'll now get a new shared grid view with all of your people on screen at the same time, similar to what you see with Zoom and Google Hangouts. You'll also be able, finally, to invite people outside of Apple's ecosystem to calls. You can actually send them a web link and they'll be able to dial in on their PC or laptop into the calls you're having. Naturally, FaceTime calls still work best on Apple devices, but it's nice finally to share with people that don't have Apple hardware, this service that Apple diehards love to use. Perhaps the most impressive upgrade, however, is slightly hidden away. Apple has added voice isolation and wide audio modes to its voice call system, and this goes beyond just FaceTime. You can actually use it on WhatsApp calls and other apps as well. Wide audio mode actually draws in more ambient noise, so maybe you want to kind of share the atmosphere of a live concert, or generally just have more noise. You can do that if you want to. The voice isolation mode, however, is very good at picking up your voice and cancelling out everything around you. I turned it on during some WhatsApp video calls with family while trying to take care of a particularly cranky toddler, and the people on the other side of the line did not know there was a toddler having a meltdown just 2 meters away from me. It's pretty impressive. Aside from SharePlay and FaceTime, focus modes are the new thing with iOS 15. We've already talked about this in the open beta, but this is another feature from Apple that attempts to help us to claw back our lives from our smartphones. Focus offers multiple different profiles evolving from the Do Not Disturb toggle from before. Now there are 3 placeholder profiles you can start to play with: work, bedtime, and personal, but there's no stopping you adding your own dedicated profiles, say one for when you go to the gym that just focuses on your workout apps and your music. There's also a toggle within the Focus menu that allows compatible apps, and there aren't that many, to notify anyone trying to contact you that messages were delivered quietly. If it's very important, they can actually send anyway and the message will still ping you. And of course, this only works on people that are using other iOS devices. If it's an Android person trying to text you, they won't get any such notification. The iPhone can also automate these transitions between different focus modes dependent on location, time, or AI smarts. Meaning the phone will pretty much lock you out if it's during work hours and you have a work profile set up. Even if you don't set up times or locations for these modes, the phone will gradually learn how you transition between them and start to suggest them before you turn them on yourself. Focus modes aren't just all about notifications. You can actually rearrange how your phone looks depending on which mode you're in. Inside the settings for each mode, you can rearrange an entirely new home screen for each focus mode. So you can just have a phone that's entirely work and business apps and comms apps, or you can have a personal profile that's just entirely games, streaming things, and other time-wasting joy. If it's any kind of endorsement, I set up my own sleep focus mode, which kicks in at 10 PM each night. Not only does this limit notifications after a certain point in the day, but it also stops me booting up apps like Netflix or Apple Arcade games that might be a little bit overstimulating that late in the day. So far, it's working out pretty well. Apple's making more tentative machine learning steps elsewhere as well. A handful of them are based on imaging. Visual Lookup does exactly what you think it will. It will actually look at your photos and suggest the content within them, whether it's landmarks, people, or the rest. Yes, it's exactly what Google Lens has been doing for years, but now it does it on an Apple phone. That's great, right? Live text, another feature, is a little bit more compelling. It can scan and pull out text from your photos, enabling you to paste it into an email or into your Notes app. In general, just using the machine to take the text for you so you don't have to type it out yourself. You can even get it to translate menus and other things like that in real time. Perfect, because we're gradually able to go beyond our borders very soon. Spotlight in iOS 15, the search bar you probably use to find pretty much anything, has also been given more machine learning smarts. You can now search for photos without opening the Photos app itself. If you type in dog, baby, ramen, whatever, the phone will search and seek out those photos and bring them up. Even people, if you've assigned a name to a face in your iPhotos library, those photos will also be surfaced if you type their name in. Even more impressive, Spotlight will search the text within your photos. Now, I haven't found a great use for this just yet, but it's pretty impressive. It can also backfire, however. I have a photo of a Lululemon tote bag, don't ask, and that's covered in different words about fitness, lifestyle, the rest of it. Apple has decided to index every single word on that bag. Impressive, but irrelevant. Across iOS 15 in several places, you'll find a new Shared With You section. This is a new place for showcasing everything that anyone has sent you on Apple's Messages app. You'll see it across Safari, Podcasts, and Photos, and several other apps within iOS 15. Safari has got some surprising changes of its own. The address bar has now been moved from the top of the screen to the bottom, which works better in this age of ever bigger iPhones. While it might take you a while to remember that's where the URL box lives, you can actually revert it to Safari of yesteryear if you really want to. It's a surprising bit of flexibility from Apple. Safari on iOS 15 also introduces extensions, just like Safari on desktop, although the features here are still quite limited. There's only one extension I'm currently using, which is Noir. It's an app that forces a dark mode on websites when you're browsing them on Safari. This is another area that hopefully Apple and developers can create a bigger ecosystem and a more compelling reason to use an extension on Safari on your iPhone. Fingers crossed. I can't cover absolutely everything Apple has upgraded in iOS 15, but I do want to hit on some of the more compelling stuff. Apple Maps continues its slow path to redemption with even more features. That includes augmented reality walking instructions, where you'll be able to use your phone to navigate by landmarks, and improved transit instructions. There's also a deeper level of detail in certain areas. If you're living in New York, San Francisco, or even here in London, you'll find a lot more dedicated information on turn-offs and even bike lanes, which, thank God, that's finally here. Borrowing from Dark Sky, a weather app that Apple recently bought, the new weather app can now send you notifications when it's raining or snowing. And the health app does a better job of informing you on changes in your lifestyle. This week I got a notification saying that my VO2 max level had improved because I've been taking HIIT classes in the morning. This means despite any weight loss or what I'm seeing in the mirror, it means my cardiovascular system is improving, and that's something I would not have realized unless iOS had told me so. iOS 15, or even iOS 15.1, is a quiet, subtle kind of update. You won't really see the changes unless you go looking for them. This isn't a getting rid of the home button version of iOS. This is Apple trying to keep those already committed to its apps deeply entrenched. It's trying to make everyone share more, but with Apple things. With FaceTime web links, SharePlay, and those new Shared With You sections, the company is coaxing you into sharing photos in messages, stretching in a yoga session with friends on Fitness Plus, or trying to get you to watch the latest season of Ted Lasso on SharePlay with your family hundreds of miles away. Apple wants you doing these things Apple's way, not with WhatsApp, Netflix, or Peloton, and for now that's still a big ask. Having said that, the company has weaved together all these different disparate parts of its OS in a very compelling way. It's easy to see what they're trying to achieve, even if the content and the flexibility isn't quite there yet. For all things iOS, Android, Windows, and the rest, make sure to check out Engadget.com, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and let me know exactly what I should be watching on SharePlay in the comments below. Thanks for watching.